The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Tuesday. The first thing to know is the focus is on U.S.-Sino trade talks as the talks wrap up. Tuesday marked the second and final day in a round of trade discussions between the U.S. and China being held in Beijing, with optimism on an amicable outcome buoying global risk assets. There's a very good chance that we'll get a reasonable settlement that China can live with, that we can live with, and that addresses all the key issues, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross told CNBC on Monday. China approved 5 genetically modified crops for import on Tuesday in an apparent show of good faith during the last day of trade talks. The U.S. is the world's largest producer of GM crops. It's a goodwill gesture towards the resolution of the trade issue, a China representative of a U.S. Agricultural Industry Association told Reuters on Tuesday. Washington and Beijing have until March 1st to make a deal, after which U.S. President Donald Trump has pledged to ramp up tariffs to 25% from 10% on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports. The talks are still underway, and I believe we will release a detailed readout after they are conducted, Liu Kang, spokesperson for China's foreign ministry, announced on Tuesday, although no specific time was given. The second thing to know today is global stocks are supported by trade hopes, despite Samsung warning. Hopes that the U.S. and China may be moving closer to ending their prolonged trade spat supported global stocks on Tuesday. Although optimism appeared to reign among stocks, an unexpected profit warning from South Korea's Samsung Electronics limited gains. The company estimated a 29% drop in quarterly profit due to weak demand for chips, bringing to mind last week's dim outlook from U.S. tech giant Apple. South Korea's Kospi closed with a 0.6% decline amid mixed trade in Asia. European stocks were able to buck the disappointing news, and the broad pan-European stock 600 gained around 1%. Third thing to know today is Trump is set to speak on the border crisis. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he will deliver an address about the crisis on the southern border with Mexico at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. The U.S. government remains under partial shutdown as Trump grapples with Congress over funding for the border wall. Talks to fund the government have broken down over the president's insistence for $5.7 billion in funding, leaving several government agencies shuttered and some 800,000 government workers furloughed or working without pay. All major U.S. television networks agreed to air Trump's speech prompting Democrats who say a wall would be expensive, inefficient, and immoral to seek equal time. The fourth thing to know today is the U.S. dollar regains ground ahead of more labor data. The greenback recovered some of its prior losses as the U.S. and China wrap up a 2-day trade meeting, and investors awaited further data on the American labor market. At 6:07 a.m. Eastern, the U.S. dollar index gained 0.22% at 95.43. The main economic data on Tuesday will be the job openings and labor turnover survey, JOLTS, number for November. The report will be released at 10 a.m. Eastern. Economists forecast that job openings will slip slightly to 7.063 million. The fifth thing to note today is oil prices rise ahead of inventories. Oil prices pressed higher on Tuesday, with West Texas Intermediate on track for its longest winning streak since 2017, as investors turn their attention to weekly data on U.S. crude inventories. U.S. crude oil futures rose 75 cents, or 1.55%, to $49.27 by 6:08 a.m. Eastern, while Brent oil traded up 98 cents, or 1.71%, to $58.31. Buying sentiment was supported by optimism that the U.S. and China could make progress in their trade negotiations, while hopes that production cuts from OPEC would help rebalance markets. Our second story today is from PorkBusiness.com. Pork industry sees some recovery from decade-low prices. The U.S. pork industry has been expanding the breeding herd and growing since mid-2014. The rate of breeding herd expansion peaked in early 2018 at a 3.5% annual growth rate, according to Purdue University agricultural economist Chris Hurt. Financial losses and heightening uncertainties from trade tariffs have reduced that breeding herd expansion rate to 2.4% currently, Hurt says. Financial losses are expected to persist again in 2019, but will not be as large as last year as trade reduced prices. To get back to profits, the industry must secure more markets for U.S. pork or further reduce the rate of expansion. And our final story today is from Investing.com, and it's an exclusive. Sears to ask bankruptcy judge for approval to liquidate. Sears Holdings Corp. will ask a bankruptcy judge on Tuesday if it can proceed with liquidation after it could not reach an agreement on Chairman Edward Lampert's $4.4 billion takeover bid, casting doubt on the survival of the 126-year-old U.S. department store chain, people familiar with the matter said. Should Sears liquidate its assets, it would become one of the most high-profile victims of the wave of bankruptcies that has swept the retail sector in the last few years, as the popularity of online shopping exacerbates the fierce price competition facing brick-and-mortar stores. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli, trade smart, and have a great day.
The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. At Fidelity, you'll always get a great value for your options trades. And with powerful investing tools that provide clear next steps, plus independent research and a wide range of investment types, we can help you make better trading decisions. Learn more about options trading with Fidelity at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.